A Declaration of Innocence. Okay, I'm going to start by reading this because I don't think I can say it better than myself. Everyone is born blind and ignorant. You must eat to live. Already the premise is evil. You have to predate on something else to exist. And you are born too ignorant to wiggle your way out of that reality. But because of your ignorance, you depend on your environment, obviously, to guide you out of the very struggles you have to morally and practically contend with. You have to trust the world. You have to. So you adapt to whatever is normal where you are. Is there an objective morality? Well, we need there to be one, but is there an objective morality as you know it? Not really. Is killing always wrong? If yes, then what about when someone is killing you or the people that you love? If no, then where is the line? The line will always be arbitrary to where you keep yourself from justifying your own death. The actions and situations you feel are normal, the choices and decisions you had to make. As in, the line will always protect what you believe yourself to be and your future choices that you want to make. It's relative to you where you draw that line, which gets us to the crux. At the end of the day, whatever moral system you come up with in a morally relative world will always amount to coping, some form of justifying your actions, your choices, or your future choices. And that is inescapable because in a very real sense, you cannot deny that you are a victim who is innocent. You are a victim to the human condition itself. And as far as you are aware, innocent because that existence was not your choice. But more deeply than that, it was not even your parents' choice. It wasn't even your ancestors' choice. And this because they, like you, were born into the same condition and were doing the best they could with the choices they had left. And without free choice from start to end, what more is that than a compulsion? Your choice, like their choice, is a compulsion. The compulsion to do the best with what you have. And so long as there is that ignorance and that initial choicelessness, then who really is guilty? Even guilt is relative to the times, to the environment, to the line that you, your culture, your group draws. So guilt is nothing more than what makes people feel justified in outputting their own evil on you or others. Whatever justifies the evil they wish to enact on you to as many of the people they need to agree with whatever they feel is guilty. Guilt is a story, basically. So those three factors, innate innocence, the loss of the first choice, and the need to eat, to dehumanize, right? Or I say dehumanize, but I mean like to degrade, to erode something and transform it into oneself to exist. Those three things are the root of evil, and that evil is embedded in the human condition itself. And this is why an absolute good is so important. If everyone truly sat with and believed the implications of this, then not only would that make the insanity apparent, the thing that I'm calling the insanity of existence, but it would exacerbate that very insanity to infinity, as in the very understanding of it would propagate the insanity even further than it already is. One cannot believe in the truth because it will destroy the world instantly. The truth of what this world is, what this experience is. And if your argument is that the world should be destroyed, when you're confronting that truth, then you must understand that this is the very insanity I'm talking about. That too, even as a logical conclusion, the nihilism, or the destruction of self or other, this is all part of the insanity. So what is the insanity? It is, one is being born for the purpose of dying. You are born to die. I think of Sisyphus. I think of that pointless sadistic labor imposed upon. I think of all those dying to genocide or pointless wars right now. And from that lens, the insanity, pointlessness is the point. Religion and narrative promises to make sense of that insanity. Science and technology promises to help us transcend that insanity. But that insanity resists correction no matter what direction you take. No matter if you take a narrative route or a power potential route, the insanity resists correction because it is base to the very human condition itself. One might wish then to block this reality out from anyone's perception, but no one has made a narrative compelling enough to believe in infinity forever, or rather an alternative to the insanity. And the physical universe insists on the finite of everything you can love. As in, this physical universe, everything is finite in this universe. And so death is intimately wrapped in with everything, making everything insane. So no matter how great your life was, your memories aren't going with you if you go anywhere after you die. Only the one true absolute morality could solve this insanity, one that could contend with the very evil that is the human condition itself, or rather, being itself. And we are on a clock before that insanity sweeps over the world, because the truth becomes more obvious the more we have a truth to see. Okay? So I wrote that a while ago, and I didn't want to do anything with it because, it just presents a problem with nothing, no direction. You are fundamentally, essentially deciding between deserving, your deservingness and others' deservingness. And everyone will err on the side of their own deservingness. And if they don't, then they will err on the side of the deservingness of an ideal that they have, which is to say, a bias, right? A bias of themselves, a product of themselves. So if our morality is relative either to our circumstance, if our morality is relative to how we cope with the insanity, how we choose to cope with the insanity, then the only way that humanity can get along or harmonize or anything other than the insanity is to either accept our own self-destruction or to accept the destruction of others in spite of the truth of the evil in that, or you see, I can try to make sense of what the answer could be, but I think what's more important to acknowledge is the fact that there is no obvious answer. We are left in this world to attempt a increasingly more subtle, particular, and nuanced effort to try and make deals about who deserves to eat and who deserves to live. And with the full awareness that no answer we come up with will ever be right or good. Or justified. And I guess at the very least, we can all take solace in the fact that it's none of our fault. And it is our responsibility. Even though it is our responsibility, it isn't our fault. And so we all have to, at the very least, see our innocence, and to whatever degree that we can, try to see that innocence in our fellow man. The deeper the better. If I was to step back from a perspectival approach, I would say that it's almost as if humanity en masse is indebted to the earth and the universe. But the way that we exist, our condition as human beings, leaves us, one, as a person who cannot save their money, so to speak. As in, we must destroy something around us to have a self. We have to reject something to be something other than what we reject. So we can't stop causing the debt, and yet we can't do anything enough to truly pay the debt back. The only thing left to do is to forgive ourselves for that, in spite of the fact that we are so morally depraved infinitely. And not just ourselves, but to forgive each other for that fact, which is easy to say and hard to do. Yeah. And I can't fathom, if there is a God, why that would be something we would be tasked to do. Yeah. But that's the situation. So